Welcome back, y'all. It's different every time. I feel like I'm always the same.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really only one great way to say that.
One of us has to be the flair, you know. Everyone knows Taylor is the flair in this group. Said no one ever.
Yeah, no. I'm a little extra. You can be extra too. We're a team of extra.
If you've been listening for a while, you know that we're still grappling with not being cool. So this is all just one big backlash from finding out we're not cool anymore.
Yeah. You know what? I've decided I am okay with not being cool. I'm extra. I'm not cool.
I wish I was extra cool though.
People listening, they're like, you're neither in the right direction. I don't know why I'm still listening to this bullshit.
Yeah, fucking people.
If you're not a dork, you probably shouldn't be listening because we're dorks. That is, if anything, if we're not cool, we're definitely dorks. So, which I've heard from my kids, being a nerd now is cool. So maybe that's kind of like that.
Okay.
So regardless, today we are talking about going from one identity to another. We're talking about going from technician minded to leader minded. So if you are someone who has stepped into leadership recently, or you're in your business and you want to delegate more, this is a conversation for you because we need to go from technician to leader. So, of course, I have a question.
Love it.
Obviously. Taylor, what is something you are struggling with that is technician minded and not leader minded to get us started today? I feel like it's my turn to be on the hot seat next time. I've given you a lot of hard questions lately that are very revealing. So
I'm here for it.
I appreciate you hanging with it.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. It's good. It's always good reflection for me. I think it's. I think this answers the question, but you know, I've been vocal about this on this podcast. This is like, you know, hiding in like operations and systems, and I think that's where my like technician mind, if I'm being honest, I think it's, you know, it's doing the work, and it feels good to like check off the boxes and do the work, like get in and like build the thing and like map it out and do. And there's like, I think that's part of, you know, that's part of a leadership role. Like you still have to produce. It's not just all like handshakes and stuff, but I definitely think a weak area of mine can be hiding in that place when things feel really hard, or I feel like I'm, you know, maybe lacking confidence in the area that I really want to pursue. So I just default to like, well, I can do this and I feel really good about it. And it makes me feel smart. And then that's that's technician minded. Like doing the work isn't the same as leading the work. And that's the key shift is that you have to lead the work and the skills required to do that. Again, not that there's not output, but that's a different skill. And so I think that's how it really shows up for me is I'm like doing the work, which again is not necessarily not my job, but it just takes on a different shape and form, and the collaboration in that. When I do that, I also like, I just like shut it down and just like work on this thing behind the scenes for like 100 hours or something versus like inviting people into the conversation and collaborate. Like, you know, it feels different when you're leading the work versus doing it. And so that's it really like, it's just a mindset shift. Like that's where it has to start. And so that's where we're going to kick off today. Like to help everyone understand what this actually looks like. And the first thing that has to shift is your mindset. We just did a workshop on this the other day. We've actually done this several times with teams. Is you have to identify like what this actually looks and feels like. So if we're going to start with the mindset piece, what are some traits of technicians versus leaders, just purely from like how they think about the world? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So technicians, I think that there's a real ego in this technician mind. Like I'll do it myself. Right. And I think that it is really hard because when we're in that mode, we get stuck in not feeling like leaders eat last kind of mentality is really, really good. But when it's done from a technician mindset, it doesn't actually work. And so the first thing here, if you're like, am I like, which one am I? Because that's always my first, like, where do I live in this? Is your focus on tasks. You're not focused on people.
Mhm.
And so technicians are focused on tasks, they're not focused on the people. And so if you focus more on the people and you're more of a leader, you're leading the people and all of the tasks are getting done because you're supporting your team, which is a leader's eat last mentalities. That is in being in support of your team, of the people part of things. And true leaders are in support of the people, not the tasks. And then second, you measure success. Technician mind is you measure success by outputs, by what you're doing versus measuring success by the team's growth.
Mhm.
This is not about your success. This is about your team's success and the success of the mission. And the third one is your technician mind is you're focused on solving problems yourself versus creating systems and building others to solve those problems. So how can I leverage other skills in the team to actually solve these problems bigger, better, faster? And so I think those are like the main shifts. There's lots to this. We have an incredible workshop we just did, like you said, a couple times this last few weeks. And it's just amazing. Like people are like in awe. They're like, oh, this is what I'm struggling with, right?
Mhm.
Like this work really does start to outline the owner mindset and we can really take ownership over this. And the needle moves faster. Talk about do better, faster, go. This is how you do it.
Mhm.
This is how you do better. This is how you build your people. This is how you shift that mindset. Is just starting by going, am I doing these things on either side, understanding where you're at. So that's what I would say first is like, those are the key indicators of technician versus leader.
Yeah. So when we want to make that shift, we're really, again, we're talking about shifting from into a leader mindset. So to lead well, there's some things that have to happen, right? So, okay, we're, all right. And again, like that's been the most, we've seen that shift happen, just like outlining how you think about things. And people are like, oh, like I'm seeing, like I do that. Even at the top, right? People are like, oh yeah, I can see that. Like my story. So we want to make an employee to owner shift. There's a few things that have to happen. And so to lead well, one, we have to rewire our identity. We have to think about who we are as a leader. And leadership is not about doing more. It's about thinking differently. You have to have a different task orientation. Your orientation has to be in a direction, the direction of solving problems differently, different problems. It's really like, it's an entire shift. Your workflow really has to change. You also have to see yourself as a culture builder. So you're not as much just a cog in the wheel or part of the culture anymore. You are the culture. You set the tone when you are in a leadership role, wherever that is at in your organization. You are part of who builds the culture and sets the tone. You're not just a taskmaster, right? I talk about the difference between management and leadership a lot, right? Management is a taskmaster. You're making sure someone has completed a task list. Leadership is about setting the tone for the culture and inspiring people to show up for their jobs without you having to follow up behind them and see if they did their tasks. And so there's a difference between leadership and management. And then you have to really you have to focus on a few things. You have to create clarity, connection, and consistency for your team. We have talked about that a lot. Those are really like the 3 C's, right? You have to
People are like, come on,
yeah,
we get it.
Clarity, connection, consistency. You have to make it very clear what people are heading towards. You have to create that unity, which we've talked about on previous podcasts. So we're all moving in the same direction towards a common mission, vision, and values. We have to build connection, which is how we communicate with people. And then we have to do that consistently. So all of those things have to be done consistently. You can use tools to help this along. So we use the Enneagram in our work. That's a great tool to understand motivations and communication style. So you're not necessarily left high and dry or all out on your own to figure out these pieces and parts. You can also, we've talked a lot about just kind of the weekly and daily, the cadence of your team meetings or your huddles, what it looks like to create ownership and to shift the language from just like compliance to contribution. Right. So how do we just, I'm just going to check the box. I'm doing the thing. I did the task, to how do I actually contribute in a meaningful way, leverage my expertise, leverage my values and my goals towards this shared mission. So there's a big shift there again from technician to leader. And that really is like, I'm just going to like comply, or I'm going to contribute, and leaders contribute. So when we're doing all this, there's a few things that happen, right? It's not a clear path to victory. It takes time. Again, there's mindset shifts. There's real language we have to use. There's real changes in our workflow. So what are some of the common things that happen when we're moving in this direction, and how can we maybe try to sidestep those?
Yeah, I think the first one, and this word gets thrown around a lot, micromanaging. And so I think when we micromanage, we're in fear of letting things go. And so if you're feeling like you can't let things go or you can't trust people, first off, go listen to our last podcast. It's about rebuilding trust. So maybe you need to do that first. If you can't trust the people, if you can't let go, like, you got to figure out why. And this is like a core thing we help leaders with all the time. You have to understand why you're micromanaging. And I think it's challenging because most people are like, I'm not a micromanager. I'm like, well, I don't know. Did you ask your people? Maybe. Do they feel micromanaged? I think going back to those differences of are you focused? Are you spending all your time managing people's tasks, or actually moving forward in the right direction? And like, managing people can be a great place to understand if you're doing that. So if you're in fear of letting things go, you got to figure out why, and then you got to change it. Doing instead of delegating equals like misplaced value. So when we see we're doing instead of delegating, there's a value misalignment. And so we got to figure that piece out. That's a pitfall we see all of the time, is people just hang on to that, and there's just a misplaced value. I get value from doing this thing, from completing this task. I feel important. It's probably not it. When the mission is accomplished, when we reach our goals, that's when the value should be attached to that. So make sure you're placing value in the right spot. And then needing to be liked. That always outlines lack of clarity and accountability.
People pleasing.
Oof. Yeah. You're manipulating people. Stop people pleasing. Anytime when we like have a need to be liked, it's always because we want to get that value. And I think the way that we can see that is there's a lack of clarity and accountability. So if you're struggling to keep your people accountable, you're struggling to be accountable, you're lacking clarity in any of these areas, that is a sign that you're people pleasing and you're wanting to be liked. So those are the pitfalls, and really how to think about avoiding them, or like stepping into a place where you can move forward. And so the key to that, well, break that down for us, Taylor. You're good at that. So instead of doing these things, we're stuck in these things. How do we get out of it?
Yeah. So instead of micromanaging, instead of staying stuck in this fear of letting go, the best way to get over that is to build systems and processes. So build SOPs that reflect your culture, not just a checklist, right? So instead of task orientation, help people understand what it looks like to move autonomously in the direction of a shared mission and vision. And then as a shifting into a leader mindset, let go of how they actually achieve that, and support them in moving in that direction in a way that's in alignment with their expertise and skill set. If you hired the right people, you shouldn't have to follow up behind them and be like, oh, I didn't do it this way. I didn't do it. Let them do it. Right. Richard Branson says, like, hire the best people and get the hell out of the way. And I think that that's such a strong piece of what we're talking about, and empowering people to stay out of technician zone. So not just us, but the people that we work with. Invest in your people. So instead of, just running people over and like not giving them the tools they need, invest in your people. Train them to lead, not just do. So they actually need tools, they need resources, they need the ability to see this mindset shift play out. That's a lot of what we do, right? Come in, work with the team. Hey, this is what this looks like deployed in your organization in a real and meaningful way, not just a nice to have. So make sure that you invest in your people, and then hold boundaries. So specifically hold boundaries that support growth, and not just enable dependence. So if you're just creating a workflow and an environment where people are bound to being dependent on someone else, checking in with the manager, right, creating systems and processes that support micromanaging versus autonomy, then you're going to find yourself with a room full of technicians. And so really just, again, holding boundaries that support growth. Hey, no, like, I trust you to do that. No, great. Go, run. Do you have all the tools you need? Do you have everything you need to be successful? How can I support? Great. Now run, right? And then with clear deliverables, clear deadlines, again, that's the SOP piece. So there's some real opportunities to shift. It doesn't have to be an incredibly heavy lift, but it does have to be notably different, right? You cannot shift this and do the same things. And it's in your language, it's in your communication strategies, it's in your systems and processes. Again, it's in creating an environment where people have the opportunity to choose the leadership path versus choose a technician path. I mean, it's easy to funnel people into that technician path based on how you work with them. So I want to round this out with something that people can do, and we call that a
leadership challenge.
Ding, 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 ding.
I was like, is he going to change it? That would be rude.
I know.
Okay, so ask yourself, where are you still leading like a technician? Where are you still showing up like a technician? And then what's one mindset shift you can make this week from I have to do it to I'm here to develop others to do it? Maybe even better than me.
Like that. Yeah, always be putting yourself out of a job.
Yeah, we had a leader that we work with this week that sent us a message, and she was like, oh no, you sent her a message. You were like, oh my gosh, great post on social media. And she was like, thanks, I can't take credit for it. And I was like, that's even more of a win.
Yeah, right.
Because one of her new employees was the one who sent it out and like did the post. And she's like, yeah, that is even more of a win. So I think, that's a clear understanding of what it looks like to go from technician to leader is when your team's doing better work sometimes than you would even do yourself. Like that is the real win. You guys, that's when life happens and really makes sense. So take advantage of this leadership challenge and lean into it. It's really fun to see your team and the people around you grow. If you want to grow more or you want your team to grow more, we have lots of opportunities this month for you and your entire team. Taylor, tell us more.
Yeah. As always, impactinitiative.network. You can find us there. Tons of resources. This podcast is there. Our blog is there, as well as lots of opportunities to connect with us. So if you need a starting place, impactinitiative.network. And then in-person events in Denver, July 30th and 31st. Lots of great opportunities for team engagement. We've been doing these events and folks are bringing their entire teams and learning together and collaborating, and we're solving real problems with our discussion questions and facilitation in these events. Again, these are free events, so if you're anywhere close to Denver, it's really a no-brainer. You are going to walk away with something that you can immediately apply within your business and with your team that's going to move the needle in the right direction. So we'll put all the information for those in the show notes, or you can reach out to us at impactinitiative.network if we can help, be a resource. And until then, we'll see you next time on Impact Minded.
Bye, y'all.